In the previous lesson, we talked about box sizing and we mentioned padding. So you might be thinking, what's padding? What's padding used for? So basically, the padding is the space between the border and the content. So it is basically used to push content away from the borders. So it's the space between the border and the content itself. So for example, we give a border of 20 pixels here. So let's inspect here. Let's inspect. You can see. So the p tag has a border of 20 around it. The gray area represents the padding, the area occupied by the padding. So let me try and reduce it here. So let's see what happens. I reduce it to 10 pixels. So if you see okay, let me try and save. Okay, saved now. So let's inspect again. You can see it got smaller. So we've been using a shorthand form of padding. So let's look at the long the way it is being declared, the long syntax way of declaring padding. So let me first write it out in a comment. So first we have, if you look at the box recently, we have a padding at the top represented as padding top. We have padding top, which always comes first because we move in clockwise direction. Then we have padding left. Then we have padding bottom. This is meant to be padding right, not left. Padding right, padding bottom, then padding left. So this shorthand form here can be written in this way also. So let's try to write it in such format. So we have 10 pixels for the top, 10 pixels for the right hand side, 10 pixels for the bottom, and 10 pixels for the left hand side. So if we inspect again, we'll see that nothing changes. Why? Because it's exactly the same as the shorthand form we wrote previously. Can you see? So let me try and change something so you can notice the major difference. So now I'm going to increase the padding for the top. I've increased the padding for the top. Let me increase the padding for the left hand side. So let me save. So now let's inspect it now. So this is our P. Can you see? You can see that the padding is irregular. It seems the padding top and the padding left are quite bigger than the padding right and the padding bottom. Why? Because of the way we declared it. So what I want you to remember is, whenever you're writing the padding in a longhand format, always know that it moves in a clockwise direction. Okay, I didn't spell my right. It moves in clockwise direction. You move from the top to the right. You declare the top first, declare the right one next, then you declare the one at the bottom next, then you declare the padding at the left hand side last. So you move in such format. But if all the units, for example here this padding, we have everything to be 20. So rather than writing like this, you can just employ shorthand form and just write 20 once. So the browser will be able to interpret that, okay, you want me to add a 20 pixel padding to all sides of the box. So let's look at the margin. So for the margin is the invisible space around the box. Just like when let's inspect again. So I will show you the margin now. So you can see the orange box around the box. The orange box around that blue margin, around that blue border. So that's the margin. So it's an invisible area. So what the margin does is it pushes an element away from other elements. So if we were to duplicate this box now, okay, so let me add another box in the HTML file. Oh, sorry, I closed it. So let me open it again. So let's close this and inspect our developer tool. Let me copy another. Let me copy this again. I'll duplicate it with another content in it. So let me add it here. So this one will now be. Let's change text. I love CSS. So let's save that now. Can you see? So now, if you notice, so let's inspect again. Let's inspect back. Let's see. Now, both P we have in this file are using the same. They're basically using the same style rules, style declaration. They are using the same declaration, the CSS rule for P tag here. So if we inspect again, we'll see that there's a 20 pixel margin between both of them because they are aligned vertically. So there's a 20 pixel margin bottom from the top box, and there's a 20 pixel margin top from the box beneath. So let's inspect that. Can you see? Can see. So the box above has a 20 pixel margin. You can see the orange. You can see the orange box. So if you see this also, there's a 20 pixel margin top for the box beneath. But you notice that the margins are not like pushing each other away. So this is what we call margin collapse. So the margins are collapsing into each other. So let's remove the other P tag and let's see how the margin works. Let's save this file. The same way we declare the margin. It's the same way we declare the margin. So we have margin because when we highlighted, we saw that the margin is applied in all four directions. So unlike the padding, the margin can have negative value. So I'll show you that in a second. So let's write it. So you go in the same direction as the padding, you go in clockwise direction. So we start with the margin top, the margin bottom. Sorry, margin right. The margin bottom, the margin left. So let's come here. Let's try and change. So let's try and write the different margins. So let's give them different values this time around. So we have 10 pixels for the margin right. Let's see another 10 pixels for the margin bottom. Let's give it 20 pixels for the margin left. So now let's save and inspect again. This might not really be obvious. Why? Okay, we can still see it. You can see that the margin at the bottom is quite smaller than the margin at the top and the margin at the left hand side. But the margin on the right, because there is no element on the right hand side, so it just occupies the whole space there. But if we were to give that div, so let's give the div that is wrapping the P a specific width, so we can be able to see this. So let me give the div. Let me give it a width. Give the div. Let's give the div something like a width of. So we don't want it to occupy the whole screen. Let's make 250 pixel. Okay, let's leave the height. So let's give it a width. So let's save this. So now let's inspect again. So these are P tag now. Can you see? So it's also still occupying because when you subtract 20 from 200 from 250, we have 50. So it's occupying the remaining 50. whereas the declared margin on the right hand side is 10 pixels. So let's look at how negative margin works. So I'm going to return the previous P we had here. Let me see. So let me duplicate this again. Let me close and inspect too. Okay. So just like before, they are still using the same style declaration, style rules. So let's try and give the second P. Let's give it its own margin. So this time around I'll say P okay, let's select with the class. Give the class name. The class of I give it second paragraph. So let's copy this. So let's save. So come here, second paragraph. Let's try the class here. So let's give it a margin top. So we can decide to write individual. We don't want to apply margin to all the sides at once. You can also specify the side you want to write. You want to declare a margin for. So for example, we just want to declare margin for the top part of the box, and we can say, okay, I want to use minus 30 pixels. So let's save. Can you see? You can see that the margin moved. We give it a negative margin. So this is how negative margin works. So the margin moved into the box above, and you can see that the distance between the top border and the bottom border of the two boxes is equivalent to like 10 pixels. So let me reduce it to 20, so you can see that, so that they will collapse the two borders, the border bottom of the first box and the border top of the second box will sit exactly on each other. So let me reduce it to 20. So because 20 minus 20 is 0. So they will align on the same line. So let's save this. Minus 20. Let's see. Okay, margin top. Okay, so let's see. Let's check what's wrong. So let's inspect. Yeah. So the reason they are not sitting on each other is because of the padding. There's a padding there. So let's give it a padding top. Padding top of 0. So once you write 0, there's no point putting the units behind it. The first box has a margin bottom of 10 pixels. That's it. So 10 pixels, and the margin top of the next box is also 10 pixels. So we are not meant to use 20 for the. So the mistake. We are not meant to use the margin top. We are meant to use margin bottom. So that's 10 minus 10. That will be what is 0. So now if we increase the margin bottom of the first box to 20, Can you see? So now let's now increase the margin top of the second box also to 20. Can you see? So it's now sit on each other. So that's when the negative margin works.